Hey there friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Michelle from LaFonda Crafts, and on this Christmas in July video we're going to be making over this reindeer from Hobby Lobby. So let's get started. The deer was silver and glittery, and I wanted a different look for this particular project, so I spray painted in black paint and primer, and then I used Rub and Buff in antique gold, and I just rubbed it in with my fingers, and I loved how it turned out. I had used Rub and Buff before, but not on a project of this scale, and I really liked how it turned out because where my finger would not naturally fit, it just let the black shine through, and it looked like just natural shadowing that the deer would have. So here you can see some black peeking through around the ears and the antlers, and you might be able to catch a glimpse of the legs, and it just looks like the natural shadow that the deer would have. Recently at Dollar Tree I saw that they had these large wood plaques, and they had them in different shapes, but I bought this oval one and I thought it would be a good base for this project. So I painted it black. This is apple barrel in black acrylic paint, and I painted all the sides. And once it was dry, I sanded along the edges just to give it a worn look. So here I'm just using the little gator sander and just bringing out the detail of the beveled edges. I thought this would be a nice complement to the black on the deer and just a nice sort of vintage look with that faux brass finish of the deer. So here I've cut a piece of foam. I cut it as level as I could, and I left it about 1 inch thick, and I went ahead and I glued down the foam with Titebond Quick and Thick. Now, for whatever reason, my glue gun did not heat up that day. I had it plugged in for a long time and it just was not heating up. So I just used the Titebond. Here I'm getting ready to glue down my deer, and I let it dry overnight. So here I'm just placing the deer centered on that foam. Now it's the next day, and my glue gun, by some miracle, it actually heated up, and it heated up like crazy. But I have a little backup glue gun just in case. So I had ran a line of glue, of the hot glue, along the edge of the foam, touching the platform and touching the reindeer. So I'm just going to place this on a Lazy Susan while I work on it. And I'm adding moss there with some U-pins to cover up my foam. And I've told you guys, when you use foam like this, cut the foam smaller than what you think you need, because the foam really, you can stick a lot of things in there, and it just ends up needing more than what you think you need. So cut it on the smaller side. So I'm gonna use some different greenery. I had these gold leaves, and they're glittery. They're from Hobby Lobby, and also like this glittery cypress, but in the end I didn't use it. So I'm first going to green this up, and I'm starting with just some green eucalyptus. I like using this green eucalyptus because it's small in size, and it gives me a little bit of a different texture, different size compared to like the pine that I'm using there. And that pine is from the Christmas section at Hobby Lobby. And I like just the wispiness and airiness that it gives to this project. So I'm trying to add everything sort of uniformly. So if I add one branch to the back, I'll add one to the front. If I add one to the left, I'll add one to the right. And that kind of helps me to keep everything uniform. And I'm using these magnolia leaves. They came in a pick with some pine, and I'll also use some of that pine to fill in around the foam as well. So there's 3 magnolia leaves in so far. And I'm just going back and filling in some of the holes that I see. I've got 3 more magnolia leaves that I'm going to add in, and you'll see me off and on. I'll use some pliers here to help me place some of the greenery or some of the elements into the foam. So pliers are always a good tool to have in your stash because they really do help to get into the small crevices where you can't get your fingers in. I have this glittery eucalyptus with some red berries, and it came off of a garland from Hobby Lobby. So I'm just trying to introduce a different texture with the glitter, and it's also a slightly different green color. So I'm just going to use that to fill in more greenery and just add a different element to the arrangement. I'm introducing a nice pop of color with these red berries, and those are the berries that came off of that same garland that I just used. I'm going to also add these red velvet ornaments, and I broke them up to individual picks just so I can space them out around the deer. Now I'm going back and adding more of those sort of iced red berries, and those picks are from the Christmas section of Hobby Lobby as well. Here's what the deer is looking like so far. I wanted to use these small pine cones as just another natural element, but I didn't want those long white branches. I just didn't necessarily want to add white to this project, so I just clipped off the branches and used the pine cones. I tied a shoestring bow with this velvet ribbon, and this is just from, again, Hobby Lobby Christmas section. I wrapped the ribbon around the neck of the reindeer, but where I glued it, I kind of scrunched it up so it would kind of give you the illusion of the ribbon being tied and then the bow being, being tied around the neck. Instead of just a flat ribbon all around with the bow stuck on top. So I'm just adding hot glue, and that's how I had added that ribbon around the neck. I had used hot glue, and then where I had the glue, I just kind of scrunched the ribbon together. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope that you like how this reindeer turned out. I love it. Here I'm just going to trim the tails. And if you've watched this far, I so appreciate you being here. Your time means so much to me. And I would appreciate you subscribing to my channel for more crafty ideas. And I'll see you next time, friends.